Okay. Well, thanks for coming. This PowerPoint went through many revisions because it's a lot of information, and it's like, what's that saying, trying to drink out of a fire hose. So, but we wanted to do this for the parents, for anybody that's interested in the school and where we're trying to go. So we'll go ahead, and I don't have a clicker. Randy's my clicker. Okay. So Sheena already kind of alluded, and I think everybody probably knows that a long time ago, over 2 decades ago, there was a vision with the elders and the leaders and the people here at the church to start a Christian school. So this, has been on people's radar for a long time. They started, we call it Wednesday school now, but I think initially it was Friday, wasn't it? Yeah. So we started the Friday school, which was, like 2.5, 3 hours. Such a successful program all down through the years, what the kids would learn. It was just so successful. And Carol Smith always dreamed of that expanding also. So we got to where we are now. So like the slide says, there was just tremendous support, encouragement, lots of prayers. And when the Cunninghams got out of the Marines and decided to come back home, Sheena just, with much prayer, and her and Rob, she's like, okay, we're going to do this in-person preschool. And that's what we started. And then it was inspections and, getting that classroom ready, and all of these things happened. And so we started our in-person preschool. Go ahead there, Randy. And there's actually our little kiddos. So, the first year obviously was a huge success because the parents wanted us to continue. They wanted their kids to continue. In our first year of in-person. We went from, we did all this. Sheena started preparing in the spring of 23, curriculum and all these inspections and everything we needed to do. And by July, I think we had 7 kids. It's like, okay, Lord, did we not hear you right? Because we only have 6 kids, But by the time school started in late August, we had 20 kids. All right. So, again, we have parents coming to us that's like, okay, little Johnny needs to go to kindergarten next year. You're going to host kindergarten, right? We don't know. So again, lots of prayer, lots of talking with the elders, the congregation, everybody we needed to talk to, and the leadership of the church, but we needed to expand. We needed to update classrooms if we were going to do this. So the men, the leaders, the elders, Sam, we started a faith promise initiative to raise money, and they gave a number, and when the congregation voted, it was way over the amount that we were even asking for, that the men were even asking for. So the picture's up there. I don't know if any of you have been back there and if you've seen the old part of the church, you'd be amazed at what it's beautiful. It's a beautiful area now for the classrooms. So that was for our K-6 expansion. So, go ahead, Randy. So, the 24-25 school year, and again, it's just, I'm going to have to look at this one for that. Yeah, so just so much dedication and love and prayer went into, now we are in our 2nd year of in-person school here. And we're looking ahead, and our facilities, we're going to outgrow. If we continue growing like we have been, it's going to be like, we're done here. We can't take any more. There'll be a wait list as long as your arm, which a wait list is not a bad thing, We get many students off the wait list, but where I work. Anyways, so we engaged in prayer, did more discussions with the elders, the board members, other people, and to do what we really want to do as far as, I think Sheena said, we want to make such a difference in the community. We want the children to have a good foundation spiritually, learning Jesus and love and just all of those things. And one of the best ways to do that is to become chartered. And we immediately got some, not bad things, but just some questions. What is that going to look like? What's going to happen? Will you still be a Christian school? Yes, and yes, and yes. I mean, it's going to be, it'll be good. So we're going to, and again, there's a lot of things that we still don't know. We're still learning as we go, but the process, and go ahead to that next slide, Randy. So we're working to become, like I said, and from these slides from here on out, like tuition and anything that I'm going to talk about from here on out is only if we get chartered. If we don't get chartered, we're still going to have school. It's going to be the same. The tuition's the same. Everything's the same. We'll still have to hire a couple of new teachers in the fall, even if we're not chartered, because we're growing and there's different things that we're going to offer and we have to have them. The charter process of it is just going to help financially. The families that want to come here, that want their children to come here, and then maybe they just can't afford that. It's just not in their budget. And, you know, we get that. So this is just a little slide about, you know, public schools receive financial support from local and state taxes, whereas families we would be a chartered, non-public, am I saying that right? Or a chartered private school. So tuition still has to be paid. However, and we'll get to that here in a second. So it's a private educational institution that possesses a charter granted by the Department of, it just used to be ODE, and now they've added the workforce on there, so now it's ODEW. And we have to adhere to operating standards of Ohio schools, and that's where people get nervous. It's like, well, then we might as well just send our kid to public school, but it's like, no, it's different. These schools do not receive funding. That's kind of all redundant there. Go ahead, Randy. All right, so here's what we've done. So when we decided, like I said, everybody's on board, the elders, the board, people are on board. We had to create an Ohio ID account on the ODEW website. We had to watch an online instructional video. I mean, that was literally like, if you didn't watch this video, you couldn't go any farther. Okay, whatever. Then in our portal, in our account, it's like, okay, now we get busy. We had to submit, well, the plan of compliance has been tweaked many times. So, you know, affidavit of intent, the racial non-discriminatory policy, handbooks, fire and safety inspections, bylaws. The biggest thing was scope and sequence for the curriculum, right? So you just couldn't say, okay, we're going to offer language arts and science, and it's like, okay, scope and sequence. What are you teaching when? So it's like, okay, August through May, we're going to blah, blah, blah. So we had to do that quite a few times. Because of our blended learning classrooms, so like we have preschool, if anybody's in here, that preschool is exempt from charter. So preschool stays the same as it is, tuition stays the same, everything with preschool stays the same. This is for kindergarten through, well, for us, 8th grade. If we keep growing, then eventually we'll have to go back to the drawing board and submit more documents, because high school is a completely different beast than elementary. So, you know, we had to submit all of these things online. The state up in Columbus at the ODEW, they have been super helpful. They get back with Sheena pretty quick. I mean, she emails or she'll send stuff. They actually get back with her pretty quick, which is amazing to me. But they have told her they are excited for us. They, you know, there's the one lady grew up in New Lex that's part of the ODEW, and she is just like, you know, there's nothing like that in Morgan County, Perry County. Your school is amazing, and we're very excited for you guys. And it's like, okay. So current areas of focus. So because we're going to, so we did kindergarten through 6th grade last year. Now we need to go up 7th and 8th grade, right? So we have to have more inspections of our basement area, of the classroom space that'll be down there. So we have to have more inspections, safety, health, environmental, Sheena's talked to everybody and their brother, and nobody knows. Nobody knows who does these inspections. She's talked to the health department, the school, Mideast something, who else? The EPA. I mean, we've talked to all kinds of people, and we still don't know anything. So we are waiting on that part for inspections. Again, we're waiting for the approval of all of our revised scope and sequence and plan of compliances. So once all of that stuff is complete, put in the system, the inspections are good, we get our occupancy, everything's good. Once they approve that on their end, they will schedule the first site visit. Somebody from the ODEW will come down then and inspect, right? Yes. At that point, if, they can check all their little boxes on the inspection, we get a provisional charter status. Then, I think within 90 days, they have to come back and do a second visit, right? So at first site visit, if there's still some little things that we have to tweak, they can still give us a provisional charter. But in that 90 days, we have to fix what the little tweaks were. So then they come back, second visit, everything's a go, we get full approval, and there we go. Then the real work begins. But let's move on to the next slide. What do I have here? All right, so again, as I'm yakking, be thinking of questions. We totally want everybody, the board, the elders, will answer your questions to the best of our ability. If we don't know something, we will find out for you. Because a lot of people are worried about, like I said earlier, well, you're becoming chartered, you're just whatever. Here's the considerations. We will continue to deliver faith-based curriculum. We are always going to be a Christian school, always. Another one of the issues I know Sheena has cried. It's an emotional, sensitive topic, because when we were not chartered, students could come part-time. You could send your kids 2 days, 3 days. With becoming chartered, the only way students could come part-time is if they were all part-time. So like your first grade and second graders would come Monday and Wednesday. Your third and fourth, fifth graders, each class would just come on specific days, right? And we don't have the enrollment to do that. So you have to be full-time with charter status. However, our hope is, and I'm going off script here. Our hope is that, you will trust us, that we will, do our best with your children, and, that's a sensitive, and I know that's a sensitive subject, but that is one of the regulations if you're chartered, is the kids have to be part-time or full-time, or each class is all part-time. And if that doesn't make sense, maybe Sheena can explain it better later. Another thing people were worried about is, okay, so if you have to follow Ohio's standards, some crazy stuff is taught in the public schools, right? It just is. I should have put this out there. We are not demonizing public school. We are not, my kids all went to public school. I went to public school. Look at me, I turned out great. We're not doing that. It's the choice of the parents to send their children to a Christian school in their own community, and that's what we're trying to do. But to ensure compliance with specific subjects like sex education, drug, alcohol, tobacco awareness, you know, Sheena had a book that was, now this was in the Good and the Beautiful curriculum. So this is our Christian curriculum. There was a book about pornography and how to teach your child not to look. We're not teaching that. You know, and like this says, so when there are subjects that come up that are under the Ohio standards, what we can do is provide pamphlets or other informational materials, send that home with the child, and leave that up to you, the parents, to teach when you want to teach that. Age appropriate, you know. I mean, I don't know what the public's, I mean, some of the stuff that they're starting to teach is like second, third grade. Well, that's ridiculous. So we're not doing that. And you guys, as the parents, that is your job. That's your right to teach your kids sensitive type subjects. So tuition fees for students grades K through 8 will go up if we're chartered. Remember, this is all stemming on if we become chartered. However, we anticipate that almost all families will be eligible for the state-funded Ed Choice Expansion Scholarship, okay? And so then your tuition will be completely covered, and then that will leave like a general fee, curriculum fee, general fee type thing to pay. Again, it's important to note we are, because, you know, there's been some talks like, oh, you want to get chartered, so you guys get all this money. And it's like, yeah, but we're nonprofit. So the money goes right, the money stays at the schools, you know, to help us hire teachers and technology. And, you know, none of us will be lining our pockets with charter money. So we are reinvesting that back into the school, obviously, and into the students. Okay, Randy. All right, so we start a breakdown here, which, actually, jump ahead to the next slide first. I got these backwards. All right, for 2025-26, if the Ed Choice Expansion income eligibility is at 450% of the federal poverty guidelines, right? So if you're a family of 5, like my son and his wife, and they have 3 kids, they can make up to $169,425 a year. And you then will get the full amount of the scholarship, which we'll flip there in a minute. But again, that 450% column is the one you need to look at. If you've got 1 kid, that makes you a family of 3, so, you know, you get the point there. My mom and dad would have been a family of 9, so they would have added $24,000 onto that 243, but I'm one of 7 kids, but anyways, I don't think any of our families have 7 kids, but maybe, I don't know.
There might be some close.
It's close, yeah. All right, so let's go to the next, or back to that slide, Randy. Okay, so if we become chartered, here's what our fees, tuition and fees will look like for the next school year. The K through 8 grade tuition will be the $6,166, which again, if you meet those guidelines, you will get the scholarship for in full. And then we have a general curriculum fee of $550. So the total tuition and fees amount is $6,716, right? I don't think I put the one slide on there of the pitch. So it'll be prorated. Did I miss a slide? Go ahead, one, Randy. One more. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I didn't miss it. Okay. All right. So again, if your family's adjusted gross income, which that's line 11, I think, on your 1040 tax form, is above the 450% guideline, then your scholarship amount will be prorated, right? So basically you can see there, if you go all the way down to, you know, if you hit 470%, then you're still getting $5,367.81 towards your child's tuition, right? So I think the highest I went up to, it's like, I think if you would max that table out, I think the total you get is $600 towards tuition. But again, I don't know that we're going to have that problem here. If you make over $300,000 a year, you are blessed. Blessed. Okay, next slide. So this is where, okay, how does this process work? So once we're chartered, so we've done everything we have to do, and they say, okay, you're approved, you're chartered. Well, then we have to actually go in and fill out on our portal. We have to apply to actually receive these scholarship monies, and then we go from there. Parents, it's a twofold or even more process. So what you will do, you have to submit an online income verification form, whatever it is. You can also fill out the form on paper and mail it in, but I would not suggest that because, you know, the mail is the mail and it might never get up there. So it's an online process, and you'll see the form here in a second. So once you've done that, you've done your part, you've submitted all your information to know where you are in the income verification. Then you fill out another form that's the scholarship request form, and then you have to give that to us, the school. And with copies of birth certificates, if there's custody things, issues, we have to have that. Proof of address, I don't think I put that on there, but so we have to have like a utility bill that's current, like within the last 90 days, that proves that you live where you say you live. And then the school, then again, we go into our Ohio ID portal, and then we get to put all of that stuff into the system with all of those documents. And it has to be one PDF. So we'll have to be teaching some stuff how to do that. So we do that. Now online it said the application will be reviewed within 14 days by the state. I will believe that when I see it, because we know how quick that works. Then the school and the parents are notified of the application status, so whether it's approved. And again, we're just reiterating, if you meet these guidelines, your tuition will be paid in full and you will only owe the fee, right? Okay, go ahead, Randy. So that there is the income verification form, page 1. I think there's like 6 pages total, but I wasn't putting that up there. If you are really computer savvy and know what you're doing, then you can submit all that and do that by yourself. But we will set up times where you can come here to the school and we will help you, just to make sure everything is submitted correctly. Per family, you only have to submit 1 income verification form. But per child, you have to submit the request form for the scholarship. And I think that's basically, yeah. We can set up appointments to help you if needed. Yeah, all right, next slide, Randy. Okay, so this one is the actual application form to get the scholarship, and this is per student, per child. So if you have 4 kids, we're doing this 4 times. But, you know, luckily, we can just do a lot of, everything else will be the same except the child's name, and then you can save that per file or folder on your computer, or give it to us, and you'll be giving that to us and we'll be doing it. Yeah, parents or guardians are not permitted to submit this form. It has to be submitted online by the school. And again, that's the first page of, I think it's like a 3 or 4 page document. Go ahead, Randy. So again, just some more disclaimers you hear. We do not know all of the details yet because obviously we've never done this before. We're learning as we go. As soon as we are chartered, we can help you to begin the process of applying for these scholarships. And then again, the most important, please remember, we will continue to always offer our faith-based curriculum and remain first and foremost a Christian school. If we don't have that identity, we're going to close the doors because we're a Christian school. We are nonprofit. Nobody's making any money here. Our students' spiritual growth is as important as their academic growth, and we are honored that you trust us. I mean, these little kids that come through these doors, I mean, you know, my grandson Wade, who's in first grade, he, at the beginning of the year, you know, when Papa Brent would pick him up, it's like, Wade, how's your day? Worst day ever. Or not good. And we have now progressed to, not too bad, you know. So Wade has learned to really love it out here. Of course, Evie, who's in preschool, she'll be moving up to kindergarten. I mean, she just always loves it. And when I ask her what she learned, she goes, nothing. I said, well, what was your favorite part? Recess. I'm like, well, yeah, I know, recess, but besides recess, I don't know. But anyway, we love your kids. We love these kids. Okay, Randy, I think that's it. So, yes. Now, again, we thank you for coming. This, Randy has recorded all of this, and he'll send us a YouTube link, and Miss Cunningham, we will put that out on our Facebook page, and so it can be shared, and you can share it with people or whatever, but questions. Does anybody have questions? Yes.
When are you expecting this to be done? By this coming year?
Well, we don't know, but I believe in my heart that we will be chartered by fall.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, the question on the floor was, when do we expect this charter status to happen or to be approved? And I do. I honestly believe. I've been telling the board for months that the Lord's hand is all over it. I mean, you know, us measly humans keep messing things up, but I fully expect we will be chartered by fall.
Okay, and I have one more.
Yes.
Absences. Will you follow that absences for the state?
Yes. So the next question was about absences, and I actually just read this yesterday, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. You cannot have more than 20 unexcused absences for the year, or that for the scholarship. For the money, for the scholarship, that's in danger of you having to pay that back.
Okay.
If your child is absent. Unexcused absent, 20. So, you know, work that out. I remember as a teenager, I missed every 6 weeks, you know, but just kidding. Don't go over 20 unexcused absences or you'll be paying back money.
Do you still have to give doctor excuses, stuff like that, for sick?
Yes.
So just being sick isn't okay? You have to give a doctor an excuse? That's how public school is. It's a pain.
Oh.
I don't know if a parent note will count, but I'll write that down to ask.
Yeah. Because didn't it used to be like if you had 2 or 3 days, then you had to have yeah. Oh yeah, if your child is puking or has a fever of 107, don't send them to school.
Yeah, but it is an excuse.
It is.
You know what I mean? With the charter, it's an excuse.
We will have to find out the logistics of, yes, when they're sick. Yeah, I'm going to have to write some of this stuff down so we don't forget.
And Morgan is different because it's 5 days or 6 days and then you get called by the hearing officer. That's why I'm asking. Because Morgan is different than any school that we've ever been to.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking. Because Georgia's never out.
Right.
You know, I make her go to school.
Right.
If she's on a deathbed. Because, I don't
What is the fever again? For those that might listen to this later, it's not 107.
It's 101.
Okay, if your child's fever is 101 or higher, don't send them to school. Just don't send them to school if they have a fever. Okay. Other questions?
I have one.
Yes, Sam.
So for the kids that signed up to go hybrid next year, and you're not started, and are you still taking them? Are we just saying no? What?
No, so if we're not chartered by the time school starts in August, we will still take the hybrid kids.
And what happens if you become chartered in the middle of the school year?
So the child will either have to start coming full-time or...
But also this is a process, so you can't get money right away anyway.
So what I read yesterday, which I was going to follow up on it because that was very interesting to me. What I read yesterday is that if you start a school year chartered, right at the very beginning in August, you'll get the first checks in September. And that's the other thing. The scholarship monies come to the school in the form of a check, because I guess they haven't figured out how to do direct deposit yet. It comes in the form of a check in the parent's name, and you have to sign it for us to deposit it. Or you can leave a limited power of attorney on file that we sign your name, which to me that's just ludicrous. It should just be Tabor Ridge Christian School and, you know, how you said it earlier, what's that called? Two-party, yes. But I guess the check is actually just made out to the the first parent's name on the form. And so, but it is mailed to the school. I mean, we trust you all, but if you're getting $6,000 a month mailed to your house, that's really, would give us heart palpitations, you know, things get lost or whatever. But it comes here. So the check will come to the school, you guys will sign it. But the process, though, of the hybrid kids, yeah, so like, say, which I don't anticipate this happening, but if it does, like say the kids come August, September, October, boom, November 1st, we're chartered. So
I didn't know if you had to start right then. Like, I don't know what the state rules are. Like, can you finish that school year with those ones not?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
No, we will not be able to finish the school year.
So say I wanted my kids to go the whole year, I somehow come up with the money because I won't be able to.
Right, if we're not chartered.
If you're not chartered.
Right.
But, I don't know. Right.
No, it's fine, it's fine, just, you're good. We are hopeful that we have answers for you by the end of this school year, so we can plan. I don't know why we wouldn't, unless there's some hiccups with the inspections or something.
And I think what Stan's asking too is, does she have to register her kids full-time at the beginning of the year to be, if we're not chartered, which the answer would be no?
No, you don't have to, no.
Because fine.
You can still do hybrid if we're not chartered. The decision will come after, you know. But yeah, we had no idea that this was going to happen when we started pursuing charter, that we would not be allowed to offer hybrid part-time. We didn't learn that until a week ago. But again, I don't know why we wouldn't be fully chartered by August, by the time we start school. So, any other questions? Anything? Yes?
Is there a relationship between chartering and school districts? So, would there be any issues with kids that are out of the school district coming to the school?
Oh, no. So, the question is, you know, would there be a problem with students from outside Morgan School District coming here to the school? And that is no. We already have students from, I think, the Warren area maybe, or, is that you? Okay, sorry, I didn't know that. I think we've got kids up towards Blue Rock. I mean, and that's okay, yep. So no, that is not an issue. There is, so I guess we didn't mention, I'm not sure how you as the parent would work this. So being chartered means the local school district we can put the onus on them to bus your kids here. Or if the school district does not want to do that, then they have to then reimburse the parents money. And I don't know how much that is. I've actually never run across that in all of my stuff I've been doing. But if you want Morgan Local Schools, if you want to put your kid on a bus up in McConnellsville and have them brought down here, you are totally within your right to do that because we're a chartered school. But if you don't want them on the bus, then there's a process, and we'll have to figure out what that is, where you can be reimbursed for the transportation of getting your kid here.
Do we apply for that, or you apply for that?
I don't know, that's what I'll have to do. We'll have to do more research on that transportation part.
what I read was the parent and the school district work together to figure out if
Okay.
they're busing or reimbursing.
I'll write these down. Any other questions?
I got you on that note.
Yes.
Just for the transportation, you may not know the answer to this yet. From what I read on ODE was that if you were outside 30 minutes from the school, that they were not required to
Oh.
transport your child.
Okay.
Minutes or miles?
It said minutes on ODE, but
Okay.
there's stuff that was super clear. And of course, we are outside that 30 minutes, so I also wondered
Okay.
how that would work. Is there going to be like a drop-off location if I don't want to drive here? And my understanding, what a few things I read is, it's the school district's choice. They can either say, yes, we will provide transportation, or no, we're not. I don't know if it goes back and forth.
Oh, like, it won't be on family by family basis. It'll be like, yes, we'll do it, or no, we won't.
Right.
Okay.
But then my next question, since it was on the shirts earlier, if you're not chartered by fall and you send part-time for a part-time family, and then you get chartered in the middle of the year, can we have access to the tuition money?
Oh, yes.
Something that you can do in the middle of the
Yes.
school?
So I did read that. It's like, because just like for the last 2 years, we've had students enrolling all through the year, right? It's not just everybody started in August. We've had kids start in August and I think every month almost. So the way if we're chartered, then as soon as the child is accepted in the school, we immediately start the process, income verification, submit the application, and, if they start like on November 1st, but we don't get everything in until the end or middle towards the end of the month, however, it'll go back. It's the child's date of enrollment is where the monies start.
And they know we are a non-charter, non-taxable school right now. We're a registered school with, Ohio Department of
Oh, yeah.
Education. So, they know that we have kids here and we're doing what we're doing right now. So I see them working with us, trying to transition into that as well. They've been very helpful to me. They really have. So
Yeah.
I see them definitely working with that in the middle, if it happens in the middle of the school year.
Yes. Yep. Some other things that I was going to put on a slide but forgot. Again, even if we don't get chartered, we still, because of the student base that we already have, we're hiring a 4th and 5th grade teacher, and then the plan is to hire a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teacher, maybe 2, just depends. Some other thing, we're going to plan a specials day. We've got things where, we're going to we've got somebody that'll come in and teach Spanish. We've got somebody that'll come in and teach technology, Randy Haynes. And, we've got all these different things going on for the kids, music and bells and those lovely recorders, and every kid and every parent has to experience the recorder. And it's just, I don't know, it's just exciting. It's exciting what we're doing here. And again, such a time as this, it's, this is, like I said, it's a dream that's been in place for years and years and years and years. And, we're in a time now where it just, I don't know, it's just meant to be. And we just hope that we keep everybody here, that we grow. We're never going to be like a 600 kid school. No. First of all, our teachers would quit. And, we want to keep classroom sizes small and, good one-on-one instruction with teachers. And again, this is only our 2nd year of school. And I don't know, Sheena and the staff that we have now, it's amazing. It's just awesome what they have done with these kids. And the other thing we want to talk about, if we're chartered, our teachers, you have to have a bachelor's degree or actively in school getting your bachelor's degree. There is some kind of certification, and I can't, when we talked to the one lady, her example was like, she was from Fairfield Christian Academy in Lancaster, so they have like 500 kids over there at their Christian school. But she said when COVID hit, so like 2020, 2021, they lost a lot of teachers. They couldn't find, people just wanted out of, but under like special circumstances, somebody can have no degree whatsoever and come in as like a substitute, sub-type teacher. What was that called? Do you remember off the top of your head what the certification, what that was called?
It's just a permanent substitute, but I don't remember what.
Yeah, so anyways, but with being chartered, like I said, our teachers have to have a bachelor's degree or actively seeking a bachelor's degree. And it's just, the public school system is pretty much the same. I mean, they bring in subs with no degrees. I mean, let's just get real. I mean, so, because, some of the negative feedback I've gotten is like, well, you don't even have qualified people teaching your classrooms. They didn't go to college to be a teacher. And it's like, well, I know somebody who did basket weaving for their degree and they're teaching. So, let's not, again, and we try to use grace and kindness when we reply to the naysayers out there, which is fine. It's fine. I mean, anything good worth doing is going to be, first of all, hard to do, and then second of all, you're going to get pushback, and that's fine. The other thing I did want to mention real quick is that Sheena had put out on Facebook and stuff that we were hiring, we were hiring for teachers, and I think so far she said she's received about 7 applications for those teacher spots, and 2 of them are bachelor degree, and 1 of them is a master's in K through 12 intervention specialist type stuff. So we're pretty excited about that. We'll be doing interviews in May, probably. And again, my hope is that by May, we know what we can offer, what we can do. But my prayer, and I really do believe that we will be chartered by August, but don't hold me to it, because then you'll have to run me out on a rail. But that is my belief, my opinion, is that we will be chartered by August. Yes, Tori? Sports.
You want me to cover that one, or you know? Okay.
Well, once I know what you're getting ready to say, then I can help you, but I don't know what you're going to say.
Okay, I was just going to say that if you're concerned about your child not being able to participate more in sports, they still are able to, as long as we don't offer sports at our charter school, then the district has to let them play their sports.
Yeah. Did everybody hear that? So the sports thing, yeah, as long as our school doesn't offer soccer or football or whatever, as long as we don't offer sports, then your child is eligible to go play at your school district. There should be you should get no grief about that. That's the law.
Mm-hmm, it is.
Of course, maybe someday we'll be big enough and we'll have our own little soccer teams and stuff. I don't know. Sky's the limit, but. All right, anything else? Oh, yes, well, let's go back here for a second, go ahead.
In the future, and I know that you probably might not know this answer, but autistic children that may need speech or whatever, want them in school, and we're getting another child. Is that in the future, has that even been touched on at all, or? Special
education, well, Miss Sheena, I'll let you cover that.
So I'm not sure, I know as an NC&T, we're exempt from that, so we don't provide special education at the school. But I wrote it down, Charity, and I will ask them for ODE, what that requires for us as charter.
I mean, we would love to offer that for families and children, but we just, we don't know if we can. That would be even more staff that would have to be hired, and And I know there are a lot of programs out there, there's a lot of grants for that type of thing too, and when you're chartered, those grants come a lot easier than if you're just, years ago when Tabor online school, we're an NC/NT school, you can't get that, but as a chartered school, but we'll research that. Yes?
With the charter, does standardized testing become a requirement of the school? Like, does all the schools have to do the standardized testing?
Right.
Whatever grade levels and like the ODP graduation test?
From what and then I'll let you piggyback. From what I read, we do have to submit assessments. There have to be assessments, but I don't know.
So when we put in all of that Diane talked about, one of the boxes on there is to check the boxes of the assessed state assessments, or it has a other box. And so in the other box, I put good and beautiful assessments that are with each unit that we have and those placement tests that we're using for the next level. I did hear that wasn't okay, so that's kind of why Diane's saying we're using our assessments that are with our curriculum, and she hasn't said that that's not approved yet.
If you were chartered, and you wouldn't have to do the standardized testing like the public school.
Right, we could use
Yeah.
our assessments, and that's how I submitted it, and I haven't heard a no yet, so
And
we're moving forward.
Yes, and I think on that, one of the first slides, I remember now, there was a section in there about, chartered schools, even though we have to follow the Ohio, but we're still not under all of the same rules and regulations, and I believe the standardized testing is one of those that we don't have to do. Now, when we spoke with she's the assistant superintendent, I think, of Fairfield Christian Academy in Lancaster, she was funny because she said, not taking advantage of some of the states, like, teachers have access to all of this teaching stuff through the states. I mean, it's already like there, the scope and sequence and the testing and she's like, it's okay, so we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. But again, standardized testing, hopefully that's a no-no, and we can actually just, teach kids how to think and learn and instead of pass a test. But anyway, that was a good question. Anybody else? Yes, Jared.
Back to the busing. Does it, do we all have to go or call in there and ask them about that, or?
We need to find out. We need to find out,
One parent represent everybody, or?
well, I think we're going to find out whether it's an all or none. I think it's going to probably, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm assuming if this Morgan school says, yes, we'll bus the kids, then each parent then will have to contact the school to set that up.
Right, but who's going to be the person to call and say, hey, I'm going to call all these kids that are on?
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Sheena. Oh, no. No, the board. Well, we as the board will take care of finding that out. Yeah, we probably should be the first ones to say, hey, we're chartered, and they're going to know that anyway because
Right.
we have to submit reports and records and whatever, reports. But then we'll find out for you if they say, yeah, okay, we'll bus your kids, then I'm almost certain it'll be on an individual basis then. So. Anything else? I know it's a lot of information, and I know the big hiccup was the hybrid part-time thing, and we didn't see that one coming. We thought you could at least still be 50%, it could be a 50% thing, but we found out that is not the case, so. You're fine, that's why we're here.
So do you have to accept everybody? Like with you being chartered, is there, like right now you can probably pick and choose because you're in school. Do we have to let anybody in?
We're done here. No, we're a private school.
Okay.
We're still considered a private school. And yes, it is at the discretion of the board and the elders, the leadership. I think there would have to be a real heinous reason not to let a student in because, you know, first of all, I mean, it's just, our mission is to, you know, reach our communities, not only for, like I said, the academic excellence and growth, but the spiritual growth, the spiritual side of things for children, families. But yes, families will, there is a application. We may tweak it for the next school year, whatever. And we, you know, we have discussions about students or whatever. But to me,
It's just work, like with it being not free, but when everybody can get the money, so.
well, but here's the thing, I mean, we can only take, I think we've got 2 spots left in kindergarten, first grade, and 2 spots left in second, third grade. And there'll be a wait list, and that's the way it'll go. Again, with the board and the elders, yeah, I don't know. If somebody would hit the lottery and buy us a bunch of land and we could build this ginormous building, but you know, just kidding. But no, I understand. But I think because we're going to be a smaller school, we don't offer the sports yet. I'm not saying we won't in the future. I mean, you know, the elders just told us today we need to have a 5-year forecast. Well, in 5 years, we're going to have a sports team. I don't know, you know, maybe that's one of the things we forecast. But I understand what you're saying. And again, because we're going to be a private, smaller Christian school, not everybody's going to be interested in sending their kids here. So I think the people that apply and go through the motions want their kids here. And the handbook does, if there's disciplinary behaviors and things, our handbook, we have policies in place that cover that, and you know, we've had to do some of that this past year. You know, we follow our policies and procedures and make sure we do things right, and we work with the parents, we work with the students, so. The questions are getting harder. Anybody else? Yes, Jason.
Not really a question, but just, you know, as far as our vision of what this is going to be, right now we're limited to, this is a big building, but it's not a big school building, most of it is church. So we are out of space. We can't take more kids than what will fit in this building. And the overall goal is that there will be a school building built, whether it's on this property or somewhere close, or maybe we move it into a Stockport or a Chester, whatever. But at that point, then we would be able to increase our
Enrollment.
kids. We can maybe have a kindergarten, a first grade, a second grade, and we're not combining. And then we would be able to take in a lot more kids, along with having to hire more teachers. And as of right now, with the tuition for the school, I mean, we just see big numbers, big leaders in the church, but, you know, what you're paying in tuition right now is really no more than just covering payroll for the teachers. Right now, the church helps in several ways, a building, utilities, different things, and, you know, back to the church, the school is going to get a bigger tuition, less for parents, obviously, but we're getting a bigger chunk of money, and that money is not just for us to make money. That's so we can actually hire another teacher or two, or we can move into a building program of a new school, or buy a building or school, however that works.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was on the slide, I didn't address it very well, but yeah, I mean, why are we going to go ahead and change our tuition to what the state will pay us? Why would we leave that money on, on their table, so, and again, it's all about the growth, where we see ourselves going, teachers, programs, technology, whatever. So, yes, Mr. Dan.
I wonder how they determine the 30-minute distance. I mean, in our family, it depends on what I'm driving the family.
Right, I had never seen that, so I've got that wrote down to do some research on that, but yeah, I don't know how they would, I'm sure they just probably had to put something on it, well, 30 minutes, but, yes,
Google Maps, Google Maps, and just air miles.
well, yeah, probably, Google Map it, yeah. Yes, Paulina?
Question. So I was between doing the hybrid or full-time. I have public school kids now, and part of me wanted to do hybrids, and I thought, oh, we can homeschool half-a-week. But part of me thought, well, that might make them a little crazy, and then they might think, well, I'm just going to go back to regular school. Anyhow, should a hybrid family consider taking days, like signing their kids up for the full 5 days, so that those days aren't taken, like, will you have room? Does that make sense? I'm asking?
Oh, yes.
So,
My suggestion is enroll them in the full-time,
yeah,
because then our current students will have the first say in the full-time spots, right?
okay.
Our current hybrid families will have
That makes
the first, yeah, yes. That's also a good question. Well, you know what? I said an hour, and it is 2:31, so we did good. But again, anytime you have questions, you can direct them to Sheena, and then she'll get them to all the board, get it to all of us. We'll try to keep you updated as soon as we know something, permanent. I mean, we get kind of updates here and there, but we won't bother you with all of that. It's like, we have to submit another but once we know what is going on, Sheena will make sure that gets right out to everybody, so.
If it's during the summer that you get final okay, how will we know?
Well, to me, and again, this is from what I've read and my understanding, but I don't know how they could charter us in the summer, because they have to come and do a site visit to give us provisional. So it has to
I
be,
don't think kids have to be present.
you don't think, okay.
No, because a lot of schools that are chartered don't have students first. So they
That's
won't.
right.
So I don't believe a site visit has to have students in the building
Okay.
to be approved. They're
Very good.
looking more of your curriculum, how you've got your classroom set up,
The
all
facility.
safety
Okay.
instructions, things like that.
Makes sense.
When they're doing, do you have the material?
This is why Sheena's in
that you're
charge.
teaching? I believe that's
Yeah.
Even if it's during the summer, they'll still be able to come and do those sites.
So if we find out in the summer that we've been given provisional, because like I said, they come and do a visit, and then from what I read, within 90 days, they have to come back and do the second visit where they give you the full charter status, right? But as soon as we get that provisional charter, and again, I'll have to check, I think you can start submitting your income in that portal, and then we can go from there, but we'll have to find out for sure.
Use Bright Wheel probably during the summer, and it's still active during the summer.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, the Bright Wheel, the app, and the way they've been communicating with you, so, yeah, we will,
Put it on Facebook.
well, yeah,
We'll try to get everybody informed on that. If I have to make phone calls to everybody, that is enrolled too, we'll do that too.
yep. You too. So, again, we're really glad you came. Happy to field the questions. That's why we did this. we figured we'd do something, a forum like this, instead of all of, one-on-one type stuff, which is fine too, obviously, for more in-depth questions or anything you want to talk to Sheena about. Yeah. Has anybody else got anything? Last call. I think we're good. Are we good? Did we cover everything? All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming, and see some of you tomorrow when you're dropping off kids. I'll be at my other full-time